Hello, I'm Claire. Thank you for coming to my channel. Before we jump into today's vlog, I am just going to give a little context on what's going on. Obviously, I have been gone for a while and it's been really hard to make content, proven by the fact that there has been zero content the last few months. I have been in a lot of a writing slump. I have really only been able to work on the Rock Song Company, and that's very sporadic. So it was hard to feel motivated, but also like I had anything to say if I were to make videos. But I have been sitting on several book projects for years because I had the idea and outlined them when I was younger and then wrote like first or second drafts of them. Some of them I edited further on, but some of them I just left as first drafts. And ultimately, with each of them, after writing, came to the conclusion that there was a lot of work that needed to be done, but I still really liked the story ideas and wanted to pursue them. So I decided I just wasn't old enough, I wasn't experienced enough as a writer to do these ideas justice. And so I put them aside and wrote other things, but have always had them like stirring in my head. And about a month ago, I just had a flash of an idea that fixed everything for one of these book ideas, the one that I wanted to write and hopefully eventually publish first. And that idea just filled in so many plot holes, it made it 10 times more interesting, and I was just so excited. I outlined everything in like a couple weeks. And my outline isn't finished. I talk about this a bit in the video, but I was still working on it. I had planned to continue working on it before I actually jumped into drafting. But then the night before, I was like, well, tomorrow's March 1st. I am on a little bit of a break because my classes, this was supposed to be spring break, but my university canceled it because of COVID. But some of my professors have said, no, actually, we do need a break and have given either less homework or some classes off. And so I just had a lot more time than what I normally would have. And it was March 1st, and I felt motivated to vlog. And so all those stars just seemed to align for me to start drafting the following morning. So I literally decided this the night before that I was going to start the book and just head off. So that's why we start the vlog just kind of jumping straight in. But yeah, as we progress, I hope to vlog more with this project. I'm trying to draft it as fast as possible and have a lot of success in that, as you can see in the video. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Good morning. It is currently 7:40 on March 1st. I woke up with the sun today. The sun said it rose at 7, and I set my alarm for 7. And this first section of the video is going to be totally out of context, but I have 2 hours before my first class today starts, and I am going to start a new draft of a story. I have been so excited about this project. I sped through outlining in the last 2 weeks and definitely didn't think I would be starting the draft so soon, but last night I was thinking about it and I was like, well, tomorrow is March 1st. That would be a really good time to start. And I am not entirely done with the outline, which I usually set as a requirement before starting, but I am just so excited to start that I have told myself that I can outline along the way, which I've told myself before and it has failed, but right now I would like to get started writing. Okay, so it is 8:42, almost exactly an hour since I started, and I have just over 1,000 words. At this point, I'm probably going to take a break, either get breakfast or coffee, and then get back down and writing. It is now 9:33, my coffee is empty, and I am just over 2,000 words. Unfortunately, I must now go to class since that starts at 9:40, but I'm definitely on a roll and wish I could keep going. I knew this was going to happen, but hopefully I'll have time to return to it later today. I got an email while I was writing that my class at 2 is no longer meeting synchronously. We have a video that we can watch for the lecture, so I might take that as writing time and just kind of skirt that video for me on a later day, but I'm very excited about where this is going, and I definitely left off sort of in the middle of a scene that I'm really excited about, so that will go either one of two ways. Either I will jump back in and just race through it because I'm already super excited about the scene, or I'll my class is 3 hours, so at the very minimum I can return to this 3 hours from now, and I might have lost my momentum in the scene, and therefore it will be hard to get back into it, and it won't flow as well, or my ideas won't be coming to me as easily, or I'll have some like breaks in how the characters feel or something. But hoping that doesn't happen, and excited about where we are at right now. We are on page 7, which I don't do things by page count, but I think that's interesting that this is probably going to end around like what I would, or the scene would probably end like sort of around where the 10-page mark would be for giving submissions to queries. I'll talk about this in another video, but I'm starting to think a lot more about the query process and making sure that my story kind of lines up to be optimized for that. So I do think that's interesting and good that the sort of this hook main scene, sort of an inciting incident, but there's also one later that's bigger, but in a way this is very much the inciting incident, happens before that 10-page mark. So excited about where this is going. Definitely disappointed in some of my abilities, and you know, it's always so cinematic in my head that I just want to be able to achieve everything that I'm thinking, but that's what editing is for, and I do think I'm able to achieve at least somewhat of my vision so far, at least in this conversation. So yes, I will return to this when I can, and I will catch back with you next time I'm writing. My class is on break right now, so I finally have time to make breakfast, but I have been sort of half listening this whole time and also doing some of that outlining that I said wasn't finished as a way of both preparing myself better for continuing the draft and also trying to keep my mind in the writing space so that I can jump back into drafting right afterwards. Alright, class just ended. It is 11:40. Almost had a crisis that would have made it very hard to keep writing in that emotional state, but crisis is now averted, and we are going to get back to writing. At 1:20 p.m. we now sit pretty at 4,317 words. At this point I've reached the end of a scene. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go through with the last scene today. I probably will at some point because that's the last scene of the chapter, but probably after that will be a hardcore stopping point for today no matter what. I feel motivated, but I should get to other things, and I don't want to drain through all of my like really hard solid scenes in the first day, because I definitely have a disparity always when writing between scenes that I am really ready to write, I can really visualize before I start doing it, and those I always have really good flow with when writing. And it's when I get to other scenes that I struggle a lot and start losing word count for each day and everything. And so if I leave some of those stronger scenes for other days, hopefully it will help me build the habit of writing strongly each day, instead of losing momentum after the first one if I write 6,000 words. But yeah, page 16, 4,000 words, day 1. 153. 5,000 words. And I'm actually going to take a break this time, and that's probably it for today. Just finished chapter 2. That was the stopping point I was thinking of doing. I didn't take a break and just barreled right through because I only had one scene left before finishing the chapter and the section. So that's probably where I'm going to leave it for today. I say that, but who knows, you might see me back again because I do this. But at least for now, I'm at a really good stopping point. If I do something else today, I would like to go back through. I don't know if this is dangerous for later progress, but I would like to go back through and read what I wrote, because there are some sections that I wish had been stronger, but I just didn't think of it at the time. So things like backstory explanation, there's a couple paragraphs that like I want to add some stuff about the world earlier, as I was noticing, because while it worked in my outline, I'm realizing now that to get 10 pages in before you even get a hint of what's really going on just feels like too much. So I want to sort of hook what the concept of the world is a bit sooner, and find a place to do that, and then just do some general edits. I'm not usually an edit as you go person, but while I'm happy with the way that the flow of these scenes worked out, I definitely feel like there's more potential, so I might be more motivated if I do them better. So that's just a thought for now. So I may or may not read through these last few chapters. I may or may not write more. Definitely shouldn't. Definitely should wait until tomorrow. And yeah, that's where I'm at 2 p.m. I have class in 4 hours, and at some point I have to do a homework assignment that's due today. But other than that, all is well. My class at 6 p.m. will be starting soon, but I just wanted to pop back in and say that I didn't do any more words, but I did go back through. I had enough time to do a reread of chapter 1, so I added like a little bit of description, about 100 words. There's definitely still a lot of work that needs to be done. I am really excited for this story overall, and I think the story structure is really good, but the actual writing of it, I was hoping would just kind of come naturally. Definitely not as proud of it as I feel I should be at this point, but also they always say it's a first draft. Good morning. Oh boy. Good morning. It is currently 7:20 on Wednesday. I did write a lot yesterday, but I didn't film it, so I'm starting today with 7,015 words. Today I got up at 6:30 instead of 7, which is still super early for me. I'm pushing it early. Today I have a meeting at 9, so I have a little less than 2 hours to write before that happens. It's also very cold in my apartment. The heating to heat it up for the day doesn't kick in at least until 8, and that might be enough to discourage me from pushing any earlier, but yeah, I'm gonna hunker down, probably make my coffee pretty soon because I'm cold and tired, and I feel like that would help. So yeah, gonna try and get as much writing done as I can right now. It is 8 o'clock now. I am at 7,500 words, and I'll be filling in some of the scenes that I kind of blocked out before I made coffee. So my memory card actually filled up at the end of that last clip, but I just wanted to pop in and say that it is now 8:40. I have, I think, about 1,000 words more than I had last time when I checked in. 8,400. Just about done with my coffee, just about done with this snack. I started chapter 4, and it's now 20 minutes before my meeting, and I have some things and notes to go over before that starts. So I'm going to leave it here, despite the fact that it's the start of a very exciting scene. But hopefully that will just make it all the more easier to jump back in as soon as my meeting's done. I don't think that I'm doing very well as far as writing the actual words well, but I think the story is progressing exactly how I planned it, and scenes are kind of flowing together. There's a couple pieces so far that I'm like, maybe that will be cut later on. It was in my original plan, but then when I was writing it, it sort of slowed down the pacing, so either it needs a lot of work to keep the tension of the other exciting scenes sort of carrying through instead of jumping to different topics, or it might stay, or it might just get cut altogether to keep that pacing go, but I'm worried that will make this beginning section too fast, so we'll find out. I mean, this part right here is kind of going into the bigger exciting incident that's the call to adventure for my character, which I think in general, heroes' journeys, standalone novels, this would be about the time, because it's definitely not right at the beginning when they actually start going on the adventure. If you look at the Lord of the Rings movie, for example. I'm always surprised when I watch it, like how far into the movie they actually start on the adventure, which works out because the movie is like 3.5 hours long. But when you have to create all that backstory and exposition and stuff first in these types of things, like Star Wars and everything, usually it's like half hour to an hour into the movie before they actually like go on the adventure. So should be about right timing. And the thing that started the inciting incident did in fact happen in the first chapter. So again, hoping that that is accurate for pacing and follows the whole like make sure your story starts at the beginning sort of thing, because that's something that I've really been focusing on for this draft. But yeah, otherwise things are going really well. My excitement, momentum still carrying through. I'm still in the beginning section that has been planned a lot, so I can't really say for now that this momentum will continue on, because I'm almost at 10,000 words, which I'm hoping to get this draft to 100k before it's finished. So that would mean that I'm a tenth of the way through. I will catch back with you at 9:30-ish, whenever my meeting's over. It is just now 10 o'clock. My meeting just finished, and I'm gonna hop back in to write for another hour or two. I do have a lecture to watch before my class at 2, so I at least, the bare minimum, have to stop at 1 o'clock. So yeah, I will be jumping back in, currently at 8,400 words, and we'll see what we're at when we're done. It is 11 o'clock, and I just hit 10,000 words, so I wanted to document that. 10,000 words in 3 days is pretty good. I am curious because I want to go back through my other trackers and find out if I've ever hit 10,000 that quickly. Probably on a NaNoWriMo, but it's just exciting. I am starting to slow down though. I feel motivated in energy levels, and wanting to be creative, but I'm starting to get bogged down in knowing that my prose just isn't good. Like, I'm still flowing through the story, but I wanted reference to see what I said for this conversation in the previous drafts, and I went back and I was reading that, and I'm like, wow, they're just so much better. I think part of the revision process will involve splicing sentences that I've already written from previous drafts into this one, because even in my read-throughs to check for like, oh, what did I do for the story in that part, I found lines and I'm like, wow, those are really good, despite those being like first draft lines. Usually you expect that with each draft, and it's been years since I wrote this, so theoretically I would be a better writer. And that's also starting to get to me, is if I could write so much better prose in a previous draft that I wrote years ago, does that mean that I've gotten so much worse? I've definitely written a lot less in the past few years. A lot of that was time issues, or it was just feeling inadequate and deciding I needed to wait more time and get more practice before I wrote back on these books again. But I'm starting to think, what if that lack of practice actually made me much worse? I wasn't exercising the writing muscle, and now here we are. I still want this book to turn out as good as I want it to, and I don't want my lack of ability to hold that back. So maybe when I go back through and I do an edit on this one and I add a bunch of lines and ideas from the previous draft, that ultimately what I make will be much better, because I know that the story is much better than it was before. I can see that in the outline, I can see that before even writing, that the flow of the story and the tension and the conflict are much more developed. Characters are on paper the characters are much more developed. I don't know if I'm going to be able to execute that as much as I want, but at least I know that that'll be something I'll have to go back in. I'll know kind of the approach that I want to take for that and where they're supposed to be. So I don't know, maybe with the good prose but bad story, and the draft with good story but bad prose, once those are combined together into probably a draft 4, maybe that will make a good book. Who knows? That's the goal. I don't know, but I'm definitely slowing down. I wanted to reach 10,000 just to push through, but considering how much I'm second guessing everything now, because I went back and read those previous parts and were like, wow, these are so much better. Yeah, I just kind of lost my momentum despite still having the energy to go forward with it. So I think I need to rekindle my inspiration and work on something else creative, or take a break for class or something. I don't want insecurities to slow me down. I changed settings a while ago hoping that it would help sort of rekindle everything, and I've pushed through and kept writing, but the self-doubt is definitely creeping in. So I think I'm gonna leave where I'm at for today. It's currently almost 5 o'clock. I had to take a break for class, and just kind of taking a few steps away from it, but that's something I always struggle with, is actually stepping away from projects. How many times in this vlog already, in these past 3 days, but only 2 because I only vlogged 2, how many times have I said, I'm gonna take a break? And then it turns out I don't actually take a break because the page is still open, and I'm like, well, I still have energy, so I should keep writing. But I also know that that's not the most productive plan, and that's something that I will definitely need to learn how to do better. I am at 12,000 words, which, by the way, this is actually a new setup. It'll look a lot different. I built a PC over the break. Oh, that's not good lighting. Honestly, almost 13,000 words in 3 days is really good. Like, that's way more than I'm used to accomplishing. Sometimes on NaNoWriMo I can do it. Usually I hit the ground running on the first week and just kind of speed through like 20,000 words, and then really slog on weeks 2 and 3, and then week 4 just kind of kicks me in the butt, and I'm like, okay, I gotta actually finish this if I'm going to win. So I write like 10,000 words in a day. But as far as like a no deadline project, this has been nice. I also have a lot more free time than I normally would, because this would have been spring break for my university, but because of COVID, they canceled it. But then also some of my professors are like, well, actually, we do need a break, so let's give you less homework, or the occasional class canceled. So my workload has been a lot lighter this week, which is one of the main reasons why I pushed to actually starting writing the draft for this week, was I wanted to take advantage of all that time. And it's definitely paid off, because I'm almost 13,000 words in. So while this isn't a nano project, and I hesitate to create this goal for myself, because it seems like the past year, anytime I make a goal, it just ends up being a complete disaster, because then I just feel a whole bunch of pressure when I'm unable to fulfill it, and it just causes a whole bunch more stress than it needs to. So I hesitate to say that I want to set a goal for myself to get 50,000 words in this project by the end of the month, as if it were a NaNoWriMo. But also, I am at almost 13,000 words on day 3, so I'm definitely feeling really motivated to get this project done quickly, because this is the first time I've written a book in a long time, and I'm getting excited again for the possibility of publishing, and just the whole like query and submission process, due to factors that I will talk about in another video. I need to have a finished manuscript in order to do that, and also I have friends right now who are super interested in reading my writing. They've been reading the rock song company that I post on the Geek Wave, and getting that positive feedback on my writing has been super motivating as well, and it's just stirred up all this excitement for when I actually have a book that I could give someone. The first draft is terrible, so I need to get through the first draft quickly so that I can get to the better other draft that I can then share with people, and that would be really fun. Don't want to jinx it, knock on wood, but I have high hopes for the success of this project. Good morning. It is 7:35. A bit later start than I wanted to get this morning, but I am quite tired. This is day 4 of writing, not day 4 of waking up early, because I kind of skipped Tuesday, but day 4 of writing. And second day in a row of waking up really early, and I'm starting to wonder how sustainable this is. I know that it takes longer than a few days to get in the habit, but I also just don't entirely like the routine. There are some things about nighttime that I like and take advantage of, as far as like switching when the sun goes down to relaxing activities versus productive, and having less time since that happens before I go to sleep. It just feels like I never wind down, or I only have like an hour to wind down when I've taken a lot more in the past. So just things that I'm thinking about. I'm gonna get some breakfast and start writing here, and I'll do that for about an hour and a half until Kate Kavanaugh's live stream, which starts at 9. My goal I've set is to get to at least 20,000 in the first week, or like across these 7 days, which I think is totally doable, considering where I'm at right now. And I still have 2 weekdays because I have today and tomorrow. Alright, it is just about 9 a.m. and I wrote about 1,000 words. And in that hour, I wrote just over 1,000 words. So we will be starting Kate Kavanaugh's sprints with that many already down. It has definitely been a slow morning. I have struggled a lot, and I'm very happy that I'm having coffee now, because I think that's going to help a lot. We're through the like exciting beginning section, and so now that that whole like sequence of events is over, the scenes just don't flow, because they're not as high tension. You know, all of them aren't so strictly planned, and I'm hoping that doesn't slow me down too much, because I want to keep this momentum that I have going. And also, they always say, like, if you're bored while writing, then your readers will be bored, but I don't want that to be how it works out, because these scenes are really important. I know that I have to have them because they set up like the rest of the book. All my milk foam immediately melted as I brought this into my room, but Kate has begun, and I am ready to hop on. The time is 11:40 now. I, as you can see, finished my coffee, but that was a long time ago. And I am now up to 14,500 words. At least 1,000 more words for today, and then I will be at only 4,500 for the remaining 3 days of the week, which is totally doable given by the pace that I've been going at. So unlike other days when I always say that I'm done writing for the day and then immediately get back on and keep writing, I can say officially that I'm done writing for today, and I've finished at having written just over 4,000 words, and now we are at almost 17,000. So I mentioned earlier that it was going to be a goal for me to get 20,000 words through this week, and now my new goal, seeing how much I wrote today, is to get to 20,000 tomorrow. And tomorrow is Friday. That will probably be the last day of the vlog, and then I'll edit it over the weekend and however long. But I think that would be really solid, getting 20,000 words in 5 days and getting a really good starting point. That's a fifth of the way through what I hope this draft to eventually be. Now, this super high rate of writing isn't necessarily sustainable for me throughout the month, especially as we get into finals, which are coming up soon-ish, at least within the next month. So, again, probably not sustainable, but definitely a really good starting point. Good morning at 8:30 on March 5th, Friday. This is the last day of the vlog, and I'm going to be trying to get to 20,000 words today. I have a few hours before I have a meeting at noon, and then some things with friends at 2. So ideally I'd like to get those words in before that noon mark, but I also only have a few hours, so if not, I will probably return to it in the evening and try and finish that out, but that's depending on some other factors. But either way, 20,000 is the goal, and we're gonna try our best. It is currently 11:30, so I've been writing for about 3 hours, and I have almost just reached 2,000 words. So things are definitely not coming as easily today as they were the previous days. I was really hoping to cross that 20,000 mark before noon, because that would have been a weight off my shoulders, but it's been a struggle this morning. So we're currently sitting at 18,600 words. So I have 1,500 left to reach my goal for today. And I will definitely be stopping after that, whatever that is, because I'm not even sure now, since I didn't get it before noon, when or how I'll have the time. Although I did have a thing at 6:30 that got canceled, so that means I have more of the evening time to go back through if I do need to recover. But I'd rather not be writing that late. I'd rather have it done much earlier. So we'll see. After my meeting, which will probably go until about 1, I do have at least an hour if I need to also fill in some time there. Again, I was hoping not to have to do that, but as I said, things have been really hard this morning. I spent a lot of time just staring at the page or not being able to add a whole lot of description, like rushing through scenes. So this is definitely going to be a part that needs a lot of editing, and I mean, that's just true for the whole manuscript. So I don't know when I will next be getting in words, but I will catch with you whenever we reach a next update, next milestone, something like that. Alright, so it is just about 2 o'clock, so I have to leave, but I have just reached 19,500 words. It has continued to be a struggle. Words are definitely coming a lot harder now, and I'm starting to reach sort of the parts that I'm not as sure about. Not starting to. I'm deep into the parts that I'm not sure about, but I'm starting to get to things that I haven't fully fleshed out in the outline, questions that I still had that I thought it would take me weeks to get through, but because I've sort of sped through this first half, I didn't have or take that extra time to answer those questions, and now we're here way sooner than I thought I would be, and those questions need answering. So that's something that I'm going to have to figure out as we continue on, but not in the next 500 words, that I will continue later tonight. And then we will have reached 20k in 5 days, which is really crazy. And so I'm so excited to talk with you and sort of wrap things up for the week. At 7:20 p.m., actually a little bit earlier, but at 7:20, earlier than that, p.m. on March 5th, I hit 20,000 words. As you can see, right there. It's certainly been a long 5 days. I haven't done like anything but writing, so that's kind of how I was able to do it, but overall, like, a really good week. Even if I was naturally a full-time writer, this would be a really good week. I had 2 days that were over 5,000. The next one was 4,000, then 3,000, and then 2, and the fact that my least day was 2,000 on a day when I was really tired and slept in really late on Tuesday and didn't even vlog, is still really good. So I'm really proud of myself, and I'm hoping I kind of left things in like the middle of the scene. I had more momentum and I feel like I could keep going, but I'm gonna leave it there for tonight, hoping that I can get back into some things tomorrow. So this will be the end of the vlog, but I'm feeling really good about this week and this story and hopes. I am now a fifth of the way through in 5 days where I want to be with this draft. Now again, as I mentioned earlier, this pace will not be sustainable, so my goal is to have the full draft done by the end of April. That's kind of a stretchy goal. I hadn't even thought about using the NaNoWriMo tracker for that, since there's the Camp NaNoWriMo in April. I had just been like, oh, Camp NaNoWriMo in April, like, definitely not going to do that because I'm working on other projects, but also that's finals month. But I suppose I could, since my goal is to get around 50,000 this month and then 50,000 next month to then be done with the draft. So we'll see. As far as other vlogs on this current project, that'll just come and go as they do, but I did want to vlog sort of the launching off of this project because I was so excited about it, and it just lined up that I could start it on March 1st. So just seemed to work out. So that is all I got for these 5 days of super productive writing. So we'll see where it goes from here. Thank you for watching, and I hope to update you in the future with more, hopefully equally, or if not well, productive work on this project. See you next time.